balanced diet. This is the essence of the stress. So, the role of the health beliefs in predicting health related behavior has become increasingly important with the recent changes in the cause of morality. So, the health belief model, to understand why this model exists, we have to go to back to the 1950s. Public health officials in the US were offered free mobile X-ray clinics to screen our tuberculosis. Even though the services was free and easy to access, very few people showed up. Researchers like Rosenstock and Hogbaum wanted to know why. They realized that providing a service isn't enough. You have to understand the belief inside the person's head. The health belief model boils down to two main factors that influence whether a person will change their behavior. Do I feel personally threatened? That is a perceived threat. And will this new behavior actually helps? And is it the worth the effect? That is a perceived effectiveness. Think of it like a mental balance scale. On one side, you have to fear of the illness. On the other side, you have to the cost of the cure. So the foundations of behavior change, the six constructs. Let's break this into the six specific elements that psychologists use to predict behavior. I want to you imagine a person considering the blood test of diabetes. So the first one is a perceived susceptibility. That is a risk factor, belief about the likelihood of getting a disease. This is a belief about the likelihood of getting the disease. For example, if a student thinks I'm young and fit, I can't get diabetes. They don't get the test. They won't get the test and they won't feel susceptible. And second one is a perceived severity. That means seriousness. How bad it would be if I got it. This includes medical consequences, pain, disability, and social consequences. And that leads to missing work, family, strain. And the family strain will be there. And the third one is the perceived benefit, that is a gain. Does the action work? A person might feel threatened by cancer, but if they don't believe that a better diet actually prevents it, they won't change their eating habits. And the fourth point here is perceived barriers. That means the obstacles. These are the negative aspects of the action. It is expensive. Is it painful? Is it time consuming? For example, we can take like someone might want to exercise but thinks the gym is too far and it's too tiring. The barrier are outweighing the benefits. And the fifth point is cues to action. That is a trigger point. Sometimes we need a nudge to move from thinking to doing. That is the internal cue. Internal cue means here feeling a sudden chest pain, and external cue means here seeing a poster at the clinic, a celebrity talking about their diagnosis, or a reminder from the doctor. And the last point here is self efficacy. Self efficacy is nothing but the belief in oneself. That is a confidence of the individual. Adding to the model latter by Albert Bandura, this is a conviction that I can do this. It's the difference between knowing that quitting smoking is good, perceived benefit, it leads to perceived benefit, and believing that you actually have the willpower to stop. So, stopping the smoking here is a self efficacy that he can do. And let's apply this. Imagine you are designing the campaign to get people to wear sunscreen. According to the health benefit model, your poster should be it should people they are susceptible to skin damage, explain the severity of skin cancer, and highlight the benefits looking younger, staying healthy, and addresses the barriers like show sunscreen that aren't greasy or expensive, and provide a cue to action, that is to buy a bottle today. Then the next we are moving to the theories of health beliefs, attribution theory. As humans, we have a deep psychological need to make the world predictable. When something happens, like getting a headache or a diagnosis, we immediately ask why? Why to me? According to the Harold Kelly, we look at four criteria to decide if a cause is internal about the person or external about the situation. So, first we have to focus on distinctiveness. Is this behavior specific to this one event? And consensus means here, would everyone else react this way? And consistency over time means, does this happen every time? And consistency over modality means, does it happen in different situations? I can explain with an example like thinking about an alcoholic. They might attribute the cause of their problem to the lack of willing power. That is an internal attribution. However, they might attribute the solution to their doctor. That is an external attribution. Research by Broadley in 1985 showed that diabetes patients who felt that they had no control over their illness were more likely to choose a automated insulin pump, handing over responsibility to powerful doctors and technology rather than managing it through intense personal lifestyle changes. Then next we are moving to the subheading Health Locus of Control. This leads us to the health locus of control. This is essentially where you think the steering wheel of your health is located. Internal locus of control means here you believe your health is a result of your own actions. And external control means here you believe your health is controlled by powerful others, that is, a doctors, or change, that is, a luck or your fate. Why it matters? If I'm a doctor, I try to give the health advice to the patient with a strong one. And external locus of control, they probably won't listen. They won't believe their choices matter. Studies shows that having a strong internal locus of control is associated with healthier weight, better treatment, adherence, and lower morality. unrealistic optimism, involvent vulnerability bias. Now, why do people keep smoking even when the package says tobacco kills? It's because of unrealistic optimism. Weinstein found that most people believe they are less likely to get a disease than the average person. We do this for the few reasons: the how and why. We have to question. That is a motivational factor. We want to protect our self esteem and reduce fear. And cognitive is here. We focus on our good behavior. I don't smoke while ignoring our bad ones. I drink too much alcohol. This is example. And we also ignore the health things others are doing. Then the next we are moving to self-affirmation theory, protecting the self-integrity. Core concepts are people are motivated to protect their sense of being, adaptively and morally adequate, and defensive processing. If health information like smoking kills threatens one's self-image, they may process it defensively or ignore it. The solution is here. Allowing individuals to self-affirm in a different life domain can reduce their need to be defensive about health risks. When we tell a smoker that smoking causes cancer, it threatens their sense of being a smart, capable person. To protect their ego, they get defense and ignore the data. The solution is here. The self-affirmation theory suggests that if we let that person feels good about themselves in another area, like being a good parent or a hard worker, their defensiveness drops and they become more open to hearing the scary health facts. Then the next we are moving to the subheading trans-theoretical model. Stages of change, we can call it as a stages of change. This model argues that change is a journey, not a single jump. Let us let's use the example of quitting alcohol. First one is the pre-contemplation. No intention to change in the next 6 months. So I'm happy being a social drinker. No intention to change. Then the second one is a contemplation. Intending to change within 6 months, awareness of pros and cons creates ambivalence. So I have had a lot of stomach aches, like literally, and might be I should stop thinking about it. And the third stage is preparation, intending to act soon within 30 days as a plan. I'm going to stop doing this to the bar next week. It's a making a plan. And next stage is the action, specific over modification made in the last 6 months. I have stopped drinking, actively changing. Then the next stage is maintenance, working to prevent relapse for more than 6 months. I haven't had a drink in 5 months, working to prevent relapse. Then the next point is here termination. Zero temptation and 100% self efficacy behavior is automatic. Even when I am stressed, I don't want to drink. That is 100% confidence the individual is having. Then the secret sauce is here. Process of change. To move between these stages, people use different tools. That is a consciousness raising, learning new things. Dramatic relief means here experiencing the fear of what might happen, and self liberation is making a firm commitment, and counter conditioning is replacing the drinking with healthy alternative like exercise, doing the exercise. Then we are moving to summary and application. Integrative view. Health behavior is not just about information, it is about how we interpret, risk control, and our own capabilities. So, models as tools. These theories allow health professionals to design stage matched interventions. And final takeaways here: to change behavior, we must first understand the underlying beliefs supporting it. To summarize, to change health behavior, we must understand where the person places the blame, that is the attribution, and how they think is in the change, that is a locus of control of the individual, and how they lie to themselves, that is the unrealistic optimism, and where they are on the ladder of change. So, by this, we have completed Unit 3, and now we have to move to the Unit 4. So, Unit 4 is related to the stress. So, it is not the stress that kills us, it is our reaction to it. It is said by Hansel. Stress has been considered as a health epidemic of the 21st century by the WHO, World Health Organization. In today's fast paced world, stress has become part of everyday life. Modern day life has become more and more complicated due to the number of factors such as pressure of work, technological innovations, intense competitiveness, inflammation, unemployment, changes in value system. This has resulted stress pervading in every sphere of life, which can have adverse effect on health. So the effect of stress on our emotional and physical health can be devastating. Stress has become one of the main cause of many diseases. To illustrate, recent outbreak of coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, has pushed billions of people in existential peril around the globe. This pandemic has created a grave threat to the integrity and stability of humanity. A mysterious coronavirus, which is highly infectious and deadly, has left people frightened and terrified all over the world. This is experiential stress of impending catastrophe. Next subheading is the concept and nature of stress. So, in simple terms, stress is physical or mental tension. It is a natural human condition. Whether you are a student a professional or a retired person, stress is a part of fabric of life. Think of it as a wear and tear our bodies experience as we adjust to the continually changing environment. Here, definition: stress is the mind and body's response to a real or imagined threat, event, or change. Hans Selye, the father of stress research, defined a non specific response of the body to any demand of change. Notice the word non specific. This means your body reacts similarly whether the change is sudden threats or a sudden promotion. The two facets of stress: eustress and distress. Many people think stress is always a bad thing. In psychology, we know better. Stress is actually a spectrum. Here, eustress means from the Greek root, eu means good or euphoria. This is a stress that acts as a motivator and energizer. It provides a sense of urgency you need to furnish an assignment or perform on stage. Distress means here that is a negative stress. From the Latin root, this is a dis means here dissonance. This occurs when the demand placed on you vastly succeed. Your ability to cope, this is a version of stress that threatens your quality of life. Occur when demand exceeds a person's capabilities, leads to psychological pain and medical problems if too high. Look at your performance curve. Too little stress leads to boredom. Too much stress leads to burnout. We are aiming for optimal stress, that sweet spot where you are alert, focused, and performing at your peak. The physiological of the stressful moment. What actually happens inside you when you feel stressed? It isn't just a feeling, it's a total biological takeover. When you perceive a threat, real or imagined, your body prepares for action. The stress checklist of your body. Excuse me. Now we are moving to the stress checklist of your body. Adrenaline, your fuel starts pumping immediately. Respiration, your breathing quickens to get more oxygen to the blood. And circulation, your heart starts pumping and blood pressure rises. And diversion, blood vessels in your skin constrict, and blood is rushed to your large muscles in case you need to run or fight. And the mental state, your experience you experience a surge in mental alertness. And the subjective of stress is here. Before we conclude this section, remember this: stress is uniquely personal. What is stressful for one person might be exciting for another. For example, some people find public speaking to be a massive distress, while another finds it to be a thrilling eustress. Stress is a perception of threat. It depends entirely on whether you feel overwhelmed or unable to cope with the pressure at hand. Sources of stress. Sources of stress means here stressors. Stressors are broadly classified into two groups. Stress is a universal human experience, but to manage it effectively, we must first understand where it comes from. Think of stress as a signal from your body that your equilibrium is being challenged. External stressors versus internal stressors. Being divided Before divided into the specific environment, we must distinguish between what is happening to us and what is happening within us. External stresses. These are factors from the outside world that act upon us. Physiological environment, that is harsh lighting, extreme heat, and constant loud noises. And social interactions are like experiencing bullying or general rudeness. And major life events are nothing but profound shifts, such as death in the family, losing a job, or going through a divorce. And daily hustles also we can include the micro stressors like traffic jams or a broken appliance. And the internal stressors are these are self-generated and often stem from how we perceive the world. Lifestyle choices like lack of sleep, that is insomnia, or poor personal habit. And mind traps means here setting unrealistic expectations for oneself, and rigid thinking also we can include here. And personality traits like being a perfectionist or a workaholic. And the occupational and personal stress, since we spend most of our working hours working or managing our private lives, these two areas are the most common sources of chronic tension. Workplace stresses, domains of stress, and this workplace stresses. Work stress isn't just about having too much to do. It often involves the structure of the job, role ambiguity, and conflict. Not knowing what is expected of you, or having two bossy who want different things. And lack of reward, feeling unmotivated because hard work isn't acknowledged. And office politics, friction between colleagues and lack of group unity. Work stress will include long hours, lack of job security, office politics, and role ambiguity. And family stresses will include disturbance in the family equilibrium, managing household responsibilities. And community stresses are like neighborhood factors, racial discriminations, and environmental disasters. And societal stresses will include competition for perfection, economic shifts, and changes in social standards. Personal stresses are also include like this involves our identity and our ability to cope with change. Personality types, type A, personality type A high achieving, impatient, and more prone to stress related illnesses like hypertension. Type B personality, which includes easygoing and focused on here and now techniques. And work life balance means here the struggle of wearing many hats, parents, spouse, and employee simultaneously. All the works the individual has to do simultaneously. And the family, community, and society. As we move outward, we see that stress is also a collective experience. The family stresses. Family is a living system. When one part changes, the whole system feels the vibration. The shared reality, families have their own rules and rituals. What stresses one family might not be bother another. And modeling effect, children watch how parents handle stress. If parents practice healthy management, children are likely to follow that. And community and social stresses, we are influenced by the neighborhood and the global culture we live in. Community factors like low income areas might face structural limitations, including higher noise levels, overcrowding, and racial discriminations. And societal standards, we live in the world that rise of performance and perfection. The constant competition in education and career creates an insidious increase in stress for everyone. Economic impact. High stress does not just hurt the individual, it hurts the economy. It leads to more accidents and lower productivity, creating a cycle that affects the whole of society. Stress, here you can note down the points like stress is a human defense mechanism. While it is a bane of modern existence, understanding its sources from the noise office to a rigid mindset, it is a first step in ensuring it doesn't take over your life. And the physiological aspects of stress. Next point. While we often think of stress as all in our heads, it is a full body event. Today, we will explore how your biology shifts to protect you and what happens when that protection stays on for too long. Immediate response, that is a fight or flight. When you encounter a threat, whether it is car swearing to your lane or a looming deadline, your body initiates that fight or flight response. This is an ancient autonomic survival mechanism. How it works? So, first is a detection. The brain perceives danger, and the activation is here. The sympathetic nervous system kicks in, and hormone release. The body flirts with adrenaline and cortisol. The physical changes, you feel like heart rate, your heart pumps faster to send blood to your muscles. Respiratory shifts, like breathing speeds up to increase oxygen, and glucose boosts. Blood sugar levels rise to provide instant energy, and perspiration, you sweat more to keep the body cool during the exertion. Here, the model of adaptation means here general adaptation syndrome, that is a GAS. Hansele knows as a father of stress, discovered that the body response to chronic stress follows a predictable three-stage pattern. First stage is the alarm reaction. This is the emergency phase. The hypothalamus signals the release of glucose. Your body is in a state of high alert, fully prepared to fight the stressors or flee from it. Then the second stage is here, resistance. Once the initial shock passes, the parasympathetic nervous system tries to bring the body back to the balance. That is a homeostasis stage. If the stresses stop, your heart rate and hormones return to normal. If the stresses continue, your body stays on high alert. You might feel irritable or have trouble concentrating as your body continues to produce stress hormones at the lower but steady rate. Then coming to the third stage, that is the exhaustion. This is a danger zone. After a long battle with stress, your body energy reserves the depletion. The crash, you might feel depressed but burnout or physically ill. The disease of adaptation. Hansele warned that staying in this stage leads to the long-term health issues because the body is no longer equipped to fight. The last point here, the toll of chronic stress. Stress is a beneficial in short bursts. It helps you slam on the brakes or a race or a ache of presentation. However, chronic stress, staying in the exhaustion path, can revive your body and brain. Then the next subheading is a moderators of stress. Why do some people succumb to stress while others are resilient? Have you ever wondered why two people can face the exact same problem, like a job loss or a difficult exam, yet one person falls apart while the other remains calm and resilient? The secret lies is moderators. Moderators are the filters or butters that sit between the stressful event and our reaction to it. The core moderators are internal versus external. We can divide the factors that help us resist stress into two categories. That is the dispositional. That is, dispositional means here internal stress. Your personality, your beliefs about control, and your willpower. And environmental, that is the external force, your social safety net, and the support you receive from others. And the personality type, type A versus type B. Your basic temperament acts as a major moderator. Research find as a type A or B patterns that dictates how you respond to challenges. Type A personality, the high driver. Traits are like ambiguous, competitive, impatient, and often hostile or angry. These are the characteristics of type A personality. And stress connection is they feel a constant time pressure and a need for control. And health risks about type A personality includes more prone to cardiovascular diseases and stress-related illnesses due to their rigid and inflexible nature. Type B personality, those are the easygoers. And the traits of type B personality includes relaxed, casual, and open to criticism. And stress connection to type B personality includes they are less rushed and make others feel at ease. And health risk of type B personality include significantly less prone to stress-related illnesses. Then now we are moving to the locus of control. This is a person belief about who is in charge of their life. Internal locus of control. I am a captain of my ship. These individuals believe their own action determine their success. They use active coping strategies and have higher self-confidence. And external locus of control, life happens to me. These individuals believe luck, fate, or powerful others control their lives. They are more likely to experience psychological distress, especially if they are also have low self-esteem. And the coping advances are like people with an internal locus of control tend to use problem focusing coping, and instead of just feeling stressed, they look for a solution. Then the next point is the self-control. Self-control is nothing but executive buffer. Self-control is your ability to maintain homeostasis, that is a balance. It is a mental muscle that allows you to choose long-term goals over immediate impulses. The depletion effect. Stress is like a battery drain. Even small stresses like an argument or a lack of sleep deplete your self-control resources, making it harder to stay on track with your goals. And the result is here, high self-control helps us to resist derailment and thinking gets tough. And the fifth point is here, social support. The interactive buffer. Social support isn't just about having people around. It's about the quality and perception of that help. Perceived versus received support. Here, perceived support means the belief that help is available if you need it. This is highly positive and leads to better health. And received support means the actual help given. Interestingly, too much received support can sometimes lower self-esteem because it makes the person feel unable to help themselves. And internals are the advantages. The research shows an interesting interaction between locus of control and social support as well. So internals often receive a greater quantity of support, and externals often receive a greater quantity of support, and internal actually benefits from the support they get. Why? Because internals take the information or help provided and use it effectively to solve their problems rather than just relying on it as a crutch. Now we have done with the unit. So summary and conclusion, last one. Stress is a natural, unavoidable part of the wear and tear of life. It can be positive, eustress, or negative, that is a distress. And physiological responses like generalized anxiety syndrome are adaptive initially but harmful if it is chronic level. And resilience depends upon individuals' moderators like personality, self-control, and strong social support system. So stress is often called the health epic of the 21st century. And this is a physiological and mental wear and tear caused by life constant demands. It is broadly categorized into eustress, which is positive and motivating, and distress, which is negative and harmful. These stresses originate from the external sources such as workplace, politics, family responsibilities, and environmental factors. And the internal sources such as rigid personality traits and unrealistic expectations. When a threat is perceived, the body initiates the fight or flight responses. A surge of adrenaline and cortisol designed for survival. However, if stress becomes chronic, the body moves through Hans-Sele general adaptation syndrome, addressing from an initial alarm stage to resistant and actually to exhaustion, where the immune system weakens and the risk of serious illnesses increases. The impact of stress is not the same for everyone. It is filtered through several moderating factors. Individuals with the type A personality characterized by competitiveness and time urgency are generally more vulnerable to stress related diseases than the relaxed type B personality. Furthermore, your locus of control plays a vital role. Internals who believe they control their own destiny typically use more effective problem solving strategies than externals who feel at the mercy of fate. These internal traits interact with social support system, which act as a vital buffer against psychological distress. Ultimately, maintaining stress requires a balance of maintaining physical homeostasis through self-control and utilizing social network to navigate the complexities of modern society. So by this, we have finished Unit 3 and as well as Unit 4 today. Tomorrow, we can discuss Unit 5 and as well Unit 6. Thank you very much for your patience listening. Thank you.